Alexa, what's the temperature on my thermostat?
21.2 degrees.
Hello, it's David North, back once again to continue filling up YouTube with vast quantities of footage that 2.5 people will ever watch. And you join me in what remains the sort of boxed up and half-packed remains of the old man cave. Moving into the new man cave on, well, today's Friday, a week today is moving day, so the job for this weekend is to get everything packed up and sorted, boxed up and ready to go. And I just thought I'd record a little one here because I came across something quite interesting. I'm trying to be a good citizen here, because I well remember walking through this door back in September 2014, and yeah, I guess we always remember our first time, don't we? First place I'd ever bought, and you know, it was a bit of a, it was in a dreadful state. Just on the tiny things, you know, like there's dust everywhere, holes in the wall where they shoddily remove stuff, and you know, there's bound to be a little bit of that when you're handing over a place to new people. I get that, but they just made no effort at all. It took me a week to get the full set of keys. I had one key from the selling agent, and the others, I remember, they hadn't bothered to leave here, so I had no means of getting into the cupboards to read the meters, and it was just, anyway, with that memory, you know, in my mind, I'm trying to be nice to the people who come after me. I'm not going nuts. I'm not breaking my back trying to leave this place perfect, but I'm trying to be better than what was done to me back in the day. And one thing that I found rather curious was I was just looking up how to do it. What information do I need to leave behind? And if you just come through here, what I've got here is Hive. So you see that box under the boiler there. So, fairly standard remote control heating system, so it's like an ordinary wireless thermostat, but you can also remote control it from an app on your phone. So, besides that bit under the boiler back there, you've got the wireless thermostat that sits on the wall there. And then, third part of the system, if I just show you into the cupboard here, is the Hive receiver there, so that's just Ethernet and power. And that's what sort of talks to there and allows you to remote control it. Now, I had a look at the British Gas website because I wasn't sure which bits to leave behind. Obviously, the bit by the boiler's got to stay because it's part of the hard wiring of the place. Thermostat's got to stay. I'll leave the page here because it's quite interesting. You take the hub with you, and there's a few things that become apparent from that. First of all, it fails really nicely, like it degrades back to being just an ordinary wireless thermostat without the internet bit, and you can fully operate and program it from that sucker there. But there's even a little instruction booklet in the back there. I've never done anything on that because if you've got an app, why would you? To be honest, there's only two things I really want this for. First of all, being able to, when you live on your own, and you're a bit irregular, being able to hit boost remotely is good. Being able to knock it off when you're sitting in departures at Heathrow and you realise you haven't, also good. But the other thing actually isn't really a smart feature as such. It's just that you can set different temperatures for different times of day. So I can have a nice warm temperature to get at, because I find it hard to get out of bed on a cold winter's morning. So you have a nice warm temperature for that. Happy to put on a jumper and drink some soup in the evenings. Anyway, so yeah, the interesting bit was they said you take your hub with you because that's forever tied to your account. And if the next guy wants a hub, he can buy one. And I wondered for a minute why that was. And then, of course, the answer occurred to me. It's capitalism, isn't it? Because if I weren't able to take the hub with me, then when I got to my new place, I would say, well, maybe I'll try Nest or one of the other ones because I don't have any pre-existing hardware to think me otherwise. Whereas, if you have your Hive hub, then you can just go out and buy the other two bits for your new place. I don't know if you can see on there, for existing customers with a Hive hub. And, of course, it's cheaper to do that. So that's how they achieve the good old vendor lock-in. But, yeah, it's good. So I shall be taking bits with me as instructed. Might even print out the web page and leave it for the next people. I was going to be having the infrastructure at the new place anyway, because I've also got the door sensor here, which is quite a useful little life logging thing, just to sort of see your own comings and goings, see when the cleaner's coming in, all that kind of thing. So, but yeah, just thought that was a mildly interesting one, because there are tons and tons of videos on YouTube about how to install Hive, but I don't think anyone's really covered the what happens when you move house part of it. Possibly the next footage you see, by the magic of television, will be in a few weeks when I'm at the new place, and I'll show you fitting it in there with a bit of luck. So, 6 weeks later at the new place, hopefully looking a bit more awake and a bit less spotty and stressed. For the record, this t-shirt has seen the inside of a washing machine since part 1 was recorded. So, I've finally got my Hive sorted. So, I keep thinking that I've reached that stage in life where it just makes sense to get someone in. Now, in retrospect, maybe I should have just ordered it from British Gas with installation, but I wasn't that impressed by the general pricing or quality of work that they've done for me, or their subcontractors have done for me in the past. So, and I was hoping that there'd just be a central heating programmer here that I could remove from the back plate and replace directly with the Hive, but no. So I thought, well, you know what, I've probably reached that stage in life where I should get someone in. So there's 3 gas fitters who live within 2 miles of here. In fact, some of them a lot closer than that. One of them sort of a street that way. I emailed 3 of them. 1 has not responded to this day, in like 3 weeks. 1 responded more or less immediately and wanted over 200 quid for the job. Now, to be fair, he did offer to come and do it on a weekend, and perhaps that was the only slot he had, but more than 200 quid for wiring a controller into a boiler. I'm not, you know, I understand the labour of a skilled professional costs money, but it shouldn't take more than an hour, and it just felt on the the vertical end of steep. The third person was somewhere just over the £100 mark, I think 100 plus VAT. He got as far as suggesting a day, and he said, "Are you going to be here? Are you going to be here?" And I said, "Well, I'll be at work, but it's 15 minutes away, so just phone me 15 minutes ahead or give me an exact time and I'll be here." Nothing. Total silence. That was Monday this week. So you're probably guessing the end of the story. I got bored of trying to arrange that, and it's a wet Saturday. It's getting very cold out now. I decided to do it myself, and it's done. So because it is absolutely bucketing down out there, I'm not going to show you the receiver plugged into the router, because that's all in the garage. But I'll perhaps leave a picture of it on the screen for you. The bit that controls the boiler is sort of buried back here in this cupboard. On the other side of that boxing, you might just about be able to see a green light, but take it from me, it's there and it's good. And then finally, perhaps most interestingly, if we come down into the downstairs hallway, you've got the hallway thermostat position where I've sort of tucked the old wires away behind it and used it to cover the damage to the wall. And you've got the new, rather swish-looking Hive thermostat, and you can see if I perhaps just pop that it gives you a little bit of detail and looks a lot swisher than its predecessor. And what it's replaced, which was really annoying me because it's not fit for purpose in the 21st century, it might have been a good idea in the 1980s, is this sort of combined programmer and thermostat doobree, which confused me a bit because the programmer bit's battery powered, so it only has the 2 thermostat wires going to it, and it doesn't put any voltage on them. So I thought it was a wireless one and tried to prise it off the wall, but actually no, it is wired, but you have to change the batteries in it as well, so kind of the worst of all worlds, you might say. So yeah, thankfully back to being able to program my heating using an app like a civilised person. It's interesting, I wondered whether, well, I think part of it is just it's a small job, and getting tradespeople to do small jobs at the best of times is a nightmare because they'd rather be doing a big all-day job for a big all-day rate. I get that, but I wonder as well if the reason why they're less keen to get involved in these Hive things is just because they don't want to risk getting sucked into IT support. Indeed, somewhat to my surprise, I did have rather a battle, and I ended up having to speak to Hive support about sorting out the app because it doesn't cope very well with the idea that you've got an account and you've kind of thrown some devices away or left them at your old place and you've got some new ones. even after a nice lady sort of fully reset everything from their end and I repaired it, it still wasn't really working. And she just said, well, I can give you an issue reference and it might get fixed in a firmware update one day. In the end, I just tried the time-honoured remedy of waiting a bit, and it seems to have settled down now. The Amazon Alexa integration is working, and yeah, so I was rather surprised that the app was all flaky and misbehavey when it was first set up, because I'd never had any problems with it in the 7 years at the old place. But there you go, it is what it is, and I should look forward very much to being able to lie in bed and shout at the Amazon thingy to turn my heating on a cold and unattractive winter's morning, and hopefully combined with real-time data from the smart meters, I can see what heating a bigger place is costing me. And yeah, for the record, it took me, the enthusiastic amateur who watched a few YouTube videos, an hour-ish from start to finish. One thing to mount on the wall and a bit of cabling to change around. So I think, well, whatever. I'm off to the pub to have a nice meal and a few pints with some of the money that I've saved by not paying someone else to do it. And as it turns out, it was more convenient to do it myself in the end, because, you know, if you don't answer your email, tradespeople, then you can be damn sure I'm not going to be phoning you up and saying, please, please come and take my money. Peace out, y'all.